true and faithful relation of what passed for many years between Dr. John Dee and some spirits, 1659, by Meric Casaubon. And after the letter of Monday, September 3rd, in the internal margin, note the original letter itself is in this book. Octavius Spinola, Chamberlain, and stallmaster in the absence of the officer who is sent into Spain. In the margin, hora tertia accepta a merdi. D. Uriel, books finished. A stone brought by a good angel. My message, which is kind of lines up with the whole Joseph Smith thing again. It's the same thing being said. My message to the Emperor Rudolph, done. All the course of our actions and vision nakedly to be showed to the Emperor. Octavius Spinola. And the letter is, making clear that, they are at his service and want to be to his advantage, and is axing that'll come at a particular time. And so hereupon I went straight up to the castle, and in the Ritter's stove, our guard chamber, I stayed a little in the mean space. I sent Americus to see what was of the clock, and of the chamberlain, Octavius Spinola, spied him out of the emperor's chamber window, and called him, who came up to me, and by that time was the chamberlain come out to me, and by Americus he understood that I was the man the emperor waited for. He came to me very courteously, told me of the emperor's desire to see me and to speak with me. So he returned to the emperor into the privy chamber, and came out again for me, and led me by the skirt of the gown through the dining chamber and the privy chamber, where the emperor sat at a table with a great chest and standish of silver before him, my Monas, Monas Hieroglyphica, and letters by him, and so on. I came toward him with due reverence of 3 Curses, who showed me a gracious and cheerful countenance. Then I crave pardon at his Majesty's hand for my boldness to send his Majesty a letter, and the Monas Hieroglyphica dedicated to his father, but I did it of sincere and entire goodwill. I bear to his father Maximilian, and also unto his Majesty, and that the rather because I had good proof of the favor which Almighty God beareth unto his Majesty. He then thanked me for his father's book, and did affirm that he believed me that I was affectionate unto his Highness, and of my estimation with the learned of the world. He had heard by the Spanish ambassador, and also of my zealous mind towards his grace, and commanded the book Monas, and commended the book Monas, but said that it was too hard for his Majesty's capacity, and added that the Spanish ambassador told him that I had somewhat to say unto him. quod esset pro sua utilitate? I answered, so I have, and with all looking back, whether any man were in the chamber or no. I found that we were alone. Hereupon I began to declare that all my lifetime I had spent in learning, but for this 40 years, continually in sundry manners, and in diverse countries, with great pain, care, and cost, I had from degree to degree sought to come by the best knowledge that man might attain unto in the world. I found at length that neither any man living nor any book I could yet meet withal was able to teach me those truths I desired and longed for, and therefore I concluded with myself to make intercession and prayer to the giver of wisdom and all good things to send me such wisdom as I might know the natures of his creatures, and also enjoy means to use them to his honor and glory. In this purpose made diverse essays, and at length it pleased God to send me his light, that triangle means D, whereby I am assured of his merciful hearing of my long, fervent, constant, and continual prayers in the cause before specified, and that his holy angels, for these 2 years and a half, have used to inform me, and have finished such works in my hands to be seen as no man's heart could have wished for so much. Yea, they have brought me a stone of that value, that no earthly kingdom is of that worthiness, as to be compared to the virtue or dignity thereof, and so on. And that these things be true, I protested and took to witness the God of heaven and earth, by whose commandment I am now before your majesty, said I, and have a message from him to say unto you. And that is this: the angel of the Lord hath appeared to me and rebuked you for your sins. If you will hear me and believe me, you shall triumph. You will not hear me. If you will not hear me, the Lord, the God that made heaven and earth, under whom you breathe and have your spirit, putteth his foot against your breast, and will throw you headlong down from your seat. Moreover, the Lord hath made this covenant with me by oath, that he will do and perform, if you will forsake your wickedness and turn unto him. Your seat shall be the greatest that ever was, and the devil shall become your prisoner, which devil I did conjecture to be the Great Turk, said I. This my companion is from God. I feign nothing, neither am I hypocrite. An ambitious man, or doting, are dreaming in this cause. If I speak otherwise, then I have just cause, or forsake my salvation, said I. And we have indication at this period it wasn't the best among the Uthmani Turks, but it wasn't to such a degree that they were like Christendom, and it was obvious that they were fighting to force conversion or to conquer land. It was, not universally thought of that way, because it wasn't that obvious when they were, which would have been against Islam to fight wars of conquest. But well, he's in the company of the, an emperor who would have believed in conquering to extend the borders, rather than that's something that God cursed you for. But the emperor said he did believe me, and said that he thought I loved him unwavering, and said that I should not need so earnest protestations, and would not willingly have me to kneel so often as I did. Further, I said his majesty was to see and understand nakedly from the beginning the whole course of the angelical leading, instructing and comforting of me, For so I was commanded, that I should from the beginning nakedly open unto Rudolph the manner of God his visitation, and show unto him the holy vision, which my charge I am ready to do. The emperor said, at another time he would hear and understand more. I spake yet somewhat more in the purposes before, to the intent they might see some root, or better stick in his mind. To be short, he thanked me and said he would henceforward take me to his recommendation and care, and some such words, a favor promised. He used which I heard not. Well, he spake so low. In the end, perceiving that his will was to end for a time, I did my duty with courtesy, and at the door going out I turned back and made courtesy, and so some into the next chamber, where the noble Octavius Spinola came to me again, and with courteous words offered me great friendship. I took my leave of him, and so came through the Ritter's stove, our guard chamber, and so down and home. I had a large hour audience of his Majesty. Deus benevertat et sue nominis laudum honorem et gloriam. Amen. And if something is sacred, something's sacred. But it's more the spirit of which things are used. A person can scry into something like this. Perhaps it's a bit too bright, and it looks a lot brighter on screen. Of course, it's probably reading the light it's giving off rather than the color that a person would see it. But it's, sort of orangish. Yeah, it's more the intentions and desire and self-evocation that you put into the spiritual practice than any particular tool, oh, he's got the right candlestick and all that. It's like, well, you can try for all that, and that's certainly part of the process. But Wednesday, and if you're shown something or given something in your vision, that's, certainly something maybe you should consider. But Wednesday, Septemberis 5, 1584, main caricature, Horum 8, Praga. So, that, the mention there is of, it's their holy place, you could say. Percibus, Finitus, etc. Repetitive, ter hunc, sent entium mete lucum tuam odius eu veritatem tuum qua nos ducat et o perducat ad montem sanctum Sion eu tabernacula Celestis Jerusalem. So, he's talking about his holy place. Then he talks about another holy place, and the sanctuary of Zion. Interesting that it's listed perhaps in a different phrase, which implies perhaps maybe he did understand the biblical use of the term hewn, which went beyond blood and soil connotations. The light thereof, the locum, D said, I have, to the best of my ability, both written and spoken unto Rudolph, as I was willed, how it worked, or taketh place in his heart, is known to thee, O God, and so on. Now I am to receive further instruction, what is to be done in this cause, or else whatsoever shall please the highest, and so on. Edward Kelly said, Now here is Uriel, and a black thing, like a sarkent, a silk before his face, and over his head behind, by the rest of his garments, it seemeth to be Uriel. D, in the margin, D, note, Uriel, his face now not seen, of the eye which had highly offended God. And said, the being said, Uriel, the being called, that is called Uriel or Vryel, God maketh all things white, and make us whiter than snow. What that black scarf importeth, I know not, but I suspect. Lucifuge? Uriel continued, such as defile the fact, defile the seat of the soul, and are suffocated with drunkenness, enter not into the kingdom of heaven, neither can behold ornaments of the Lord his beauty. See how Satan, how he runneth headlong about, and through you, see how he maketh his dwelling place within you, of whom the Lord gave you warning, saying, Satan seeketh to sift you. Lo, he hath done wickedness against the Lord and against you, for he hath blemished the eyes of your understanding. And Edward Kelly said had on Sunday last been marvelously drunk, and so on, Satan. Edward Kelly said, He speaketh other words between which I understand not. Uriel said, Is not Jesus, God, and the high priest of the Lord, placed on the right hand of the Father? And those things are given parentheses. Not parentheses, commas. It says Jesus, but see, 3 separate entities. Doesn't it say in the Pauline writings? Is it Hebrews? Hebrews what says? If he were incarnate, he wouldn't even have been a priest. Yeah. And he said, He is, we believe it. Uriel said, Is not Satan, as the prophet saith, suffered to stand and triumph on the right hand of the Lord of hosts in justice, as the open enemy of the Lord and of his anointed? True it is, and he hath almost given you the overthrow. The overthrow almost given, Zechariah chapter 3:2 in the margin, and the cross. So they're affirming Zechariah as one of their sacred books. He said, Assist us, O God, and be our strength against the most subtle and mighty enemy. Uriel said, But because he is subtle, and hath power given unto him for a time, and hath striven against you, not for your own sakes, but because you are of the Spirit of the highest, and against his testimony, therefore doth not God in his justice impute the sins of the eye unto the body. And in the margin it says, I, Edward Kelly, the body, D. And D responded, Lord, thy mercies are infinite. Praised be thy name forever. Uriel said, But commandeth thee, D, I, to be reconciled, as the Spirit of truth hath taught. Edward Kelly said, He is gone. And D said, Glorified be God for his most loving kindness and infinite mercies towards us frail and sinful creatures, and we beseech thee to show us the light of thy countenance to our comfort and direction. Amen. Vita, September 13 of Reconciliation. I guess he added a further note. But I is understood D, D in the margin saying his opinion. But I is understood Edward Kelly and the seer in this action, and by the Bowie is understood. Okay, I guess that's supposed to be body is understood. John D. No. Okay, no, we're still in Wednesday, September 5th. Clear over here, so. D said, but I guess we're in a separate operation because there's a line across, or maybe it's just a different page. I don't know. We'll find out. And a great white eagle, a vision is given different letters, like in different paragraphs. I don't know why you didn't just put it in one word, one little bit there. He said, as I was putting up all, Uriel appeared again with his black scarf as he did before, but paused a while before he spake anything. He said, in thy name, O Jesu, we attend thy words by thy messenger to be uttered. Uriel said, give ear unto my voice. Edward Kelly said, now he's become like a great wheel of fire, like a wagon wheel. He thrust out his hands on the sudden, and so became like a wheel full of men's eyes. It turneth round, and is full in all places of those eyes, like living and seeing eyes. And, there's A beside that. And now cometh the fire out of it in 4 places. And there's a V in the margin. And now there is a great eagle, which is come and standeth upon it. It is a white eagle. The wheel turneth still, notwithstanding that she standeth on it. And to the margin for the next one, we have the I. These are all in capital letters, A vision. Edward Kelly said, she hath in her beak like a scroll, of parchment. She hath 2 monstrous eyes, one like fire red, her right eye as big as my fist, and my left eye is crystal-like. She standeth hovering with her wings spread, and her stern or tail spread. Under the wheel is a great valley, and in it a great city, and a hill on the east part of it, and all toward the south are hills. The city is as big as 6 of Cracovia, and many ruins of houses in it there appear. And the under paragraph and the city paragraph have the I next to it, and towards the bottom of the Edward Kelly to the tail spread, you have the S there. There is one place in it covered square like a little chapel. It hath a little round pinnacle in the end of it, and over it in the air hanging a little fire bright. And then there's a capital O next to that, and a capital N next to the following. There be many like the fowls like ravens, and their heads like unto bright fire. Kind of like the Morena myths, right? They fly into a country a great way off from the city. Now Uriel standeth beside the wheel, and the wheel is as it was before, and he as before with the scarf. The eagle crieth and striketh as a gull, or the sea fowls do. Uriel seemeth to descend from the air above, and to come to the side of the shoe stone. And I guess maybe the end of the page, right? The margins here, D and Edward Kelly, we are prophets, though God has mercy, and sufferance, which have not such presence angelical, Deus est que hat revelat, a seal open Zechariah 13b, Zechariah 13b, Dies Benedicta Regnum Christi Jam Stabilictor, prophecy against the clergy, rod with a dot, if divina apparatio ipsa Rodolfo feciendus, another seal opened, anno 1588, or which 88 else? It's interesting. There's one of the 88s that I would call towards is in the Quran. There are 78 verses, and you find Shayateen mentioned 88 times. You find that in those 78 verses. So could that be why a certain cult focuses on 88 as numbers of repetitions? And D, Forve, Lese, Matthew 24, G, is prophecy, not yet 1688. Malachi chapter 4b, Elias shall come, note 2 days. And Uriel said, the stone hath chosen you to be witnesses, through his mercy and sufferance, not in the office of apostles, but in the offices and dignities of the prophets, which is always beautified with the wings of the cherubims. Why cherubim? You think he would know the plural. Cherubim. You don't have an S with that. But it was a mistake that the King James Version kind of put, but you didn't have the King James Version yet here. With the voice is that cry 1,000 times in a moment before the Lord and before the majesty of his eternal seat, wherein you do exceed there's an asterisk there, temples of the earth, wherein you were become separated from the world, and whereby you were lifted up as of the household of the blessed, even by the very hand and finger of the highest. He said, blessed, blessed, blessed is the Lord, to whom cherubim and seraphim incessantly sing, Sanctus, 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 Dominus, Deus Sebaoth. Amen. You know, that passage from Isaiah. Padoosh, Padoosh, Padoosh. Yahweh, Tzbut, Kul, something, all the earth of hearts, Kul, heart, yeah, I don't remember exactly how that goes. Uriel said, but that it may appear that he is that revealeth which gathereth the clouds together, and is the breath of all things that live. Because I say it may appear that the Lord visiteth and is of power, and that the imaginations of man flee before themselves. You know, Lucifuge means to flee the light. As the dust of the earth doth before him that moveth it, I open unto you a seal, yet secret and not known. He said, Zechariah 13, et erat dies una, qua nota est domino, etc. Uriel said, oh, well, that's in brackets, so that's a comment by D. Uriel said, behold, now cometh that day that is known unto the Lord himself, wherein the kingdoms of the earth shall begin to fall, that they may perceive how they have run astray, and how weak they are in the triumph of their pomp. And now, out of Jerusalem, out of the church of God, and of his Son Christ, shall pass out and flow the water of life, that the sayings of the angels and spirit of the Lord may be verified upon the face of the earth, spoken by his anointed Zachary. Now shall these days open themselves, which are the days of vengeance. Now shall these woes that have been spoken of and sealed burst out to the confusion of the wicked, and the establishment of his kingdom, which is anointed. Behold, I teach thee. Those that inhabit the holy city and usurp the authority of the highest are called in remembrance before the Lord, and they shall be scattered like unto the mighty hail that the spirits of the north have gathered against the day of revenge. They are become proud and think there is no God. They are stiff-necked, for they are the sons of wickedness. Lo, in the days of Rudolph shall this come to pass, of whom the Lord hath said, If he hear me, and believe my words, I will place thee unto him as a mighty rock. I will open unto thee for his instruction and safeguard to come, my determinations in hand, and lo, to come. And when he hath wiped away his darkness and offense of his soul, I will appear unto him to the terror of all nations. For I rejoice when I exalt such as are weak, and when I help the comfortless, I am magnified. D said, Thanks, honor, and glory due to thee, O our God. Uriel said, And behold, the day of this visitation and of the execution of my judgments is at hand. And lo, I open unto you another seal, because I have said unto you, I am true and just. In the year 88 shall you see the sun move contrary to his course. The stars increase their light, and some of them, asterisks in the middle there, fall from heaven. Then shall the rivers run blood. Then shall woe be unto women with child. Then shall the time come to pass that this prophecy shall be known. And it says in smaller writing, then to be known, anno 1588 D, which 88, for I have not yet that I remember the year notified to be 1588. This prophecy not yet 1688. Okay, in the margin there. And so on, forte anno 1688. This prophecy is to be known anno 1588. For lo, and Uriel's continuing, for lo, the Lord hath prepared his prophet, and shall descend from heaven, as it is written by Malachiah the prophet, Behold, I will send before that day, not that day I spoke of, but the great day of the Lord, Elias again amongst you. Internal margin, ROD, the beautifying of Rudolph, his seat imperial. And then we have an internal margin, cave, Uriel only in great causes to be loosed for, in the end of reaching or instructing thus. And